There is a cabinet lechotla tomorrow, and some of the reporting that I've read trying to catch up on what's happened in South Africa while I was away suggests that relationships in the government of national unity between the ANC and the DA, and to a lesser extent perhaps, or maybe it's just that those other relationships have had less publicity than the relationship between the ANC and the DA. There seems to be a sort of shakiness about the government of national unity in the anticipation that the Cabinet Lekgotla will see the ANC trying to insist that the medium-term development plan will include vast allocations of money for the national health insurance at a time when the DA and other opposition parties feel that there has been no sufficient consensus reached. I also read just before I came on the radio that John Steenhuisen and Cyril Ramaphosa are meeting tonight. One of the things that John Steenhuisen was unhappy about with the news conference or the statement, I don't know whether it was a statement or a news conference over the weekend, was that he's not been able to sit down with Cyril Ramaphosa and say, look, this is our unhappiness. Listen to us. Listen to us. We're in this together. Listen to us. That is the government of national unity. Governments of local government unity has been very up and down, shall we say. There are very few stable coalitions at local government level. There are quite a few local government coalitions, very few of them stable. And I think it is, as night follows day, equally true that instability leads to poor delivery. George Michalakis is the DA's chief whip in Parliament, and the DA has just published the Local Government Municipal Structures Second Amendment Bill 2025 for public comment. George, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, John. Good afternoon to your listeners.
This is, how does one describe what I would have described as a private member's bill pre-GNU? What's the status of this bill?
Well, it's still a private member's bill. Individual members are obviously entitled to still bring legislative proposals. It's something that we did bring in the last term, but as parliamentary terms come to an end, they lapse and they need to be reintroduced. And that's exactly what we have done. It is not the first of the so-called coalition bills that we bring back to Parliament. And I hope that we will get some support from the other major parties to get this passed. But it is still a private member's bill in my name.
Okay. And the key elements of the bill, would you run through them for us, please?
So the essence of this specific bill is that we propose that there be a threshold for representation on municipal councils. Firstly, that's the one element. So you have to get a certain number of votes to actually get a representative on a municipal council. That's to ensure that the councils don't have 110 parties that all play a part based on just a handful of votes. And the second part is also to allow for a bit more time in putting together a coalition. Currently, the legislation makes provision for 14 days, as does on a national level. And we have found that 14 days is not nearly sufficient enough for the parties to actually have a discussion on what it is that they plan for the next 5 years in government, to agree on certain principles, to take it forward in a stabilized way. So we did propose that the 14 days gets increased to 30 days. The other coalition bills that we've proposed deals mostly with motions of no confidence against mayors brought in a frivolous way, but this specific bill deals mostly with the threshold and the 30 days allowed before a council ultimately gets put together.
And part of getting a bill through Parliament to the point where it might be voted upon and become law is opening it up for public comment. People who are interested in supporting or taking issue with some of the elements of the bill, A, where would they get hold of the bill to just refresh their knowledge of it, and B, how would they comment?
Yes, absolutely. I'm happy to also communicate with your team the specific email addresses. It would firstly go to the speaker, but also to legislation@da.org.za, our email address, which I will happily provide to you. But it's absolutely vital that interested parties, the public at large, has an opportunity now for 30 days to have a look at the bill and to give their input. We will obviously look at it and look at the reasoning if there are contrary arguments to see how we can incorporate it into the bill. Ultimately, what the bill seeks to achieve is to bring stability to local governments. And it is the man in the street, the normal resident out there who has to receive municipal services like we all do, who has to ultimately decide how they wish to be governed on a municipal level. Currently, our experience is that those coalitions where they are too large are not very stable. And we hope to get the support of the public to ensure that these coalitions going forward are a bit more stable, a bit stronger, to ensure that we have good services.
George Michalakis, thanks very much for talking to us this afternoon, DA's Chief Whip in Parliament.